Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing my June TBR. Now I usually don't do my TBRs this early, but next week is literally going to be a hell week for me between all the crazy shit going on at work. My daughter has, I think, 3 softball games next week. It's going to be a lot, so I don't know if I'll have time to film or really do anything booktube related next week. So I'm trying to get at least my June TBR out now. For those of you who watched, I think, which video was it in? A couple videos ago, can't remember which one it is in, because, you know, I'm that awesome. When I mentioned how I was going to embarrass my daughter with a hoodie, this is that hoodie. I'll insert a picture over here of the selfie I took, over the shoulder selfie, you know, through a mirror, that I sent to my daughter once I got it so that I could further embarrass her. It was great. But yeah, I'm currently wearing that sweatshirt. I love it. It's comfy, and I've been wearing it every day just so that I can show her how much I love her. But, or as she says, so that I can embarrass the hell out of her. But tomato, tomato. Okay, so for my June TBR, I'm going to start reading Richard Lehman again. I've already mentioned that I went on Thrift Books and I bought a whole bunch of pretty much his entire works that I could get my hands on in, not trade paperback, in mass market paperback, which that's what I owned him in before anyways. It's very hard to find any other kind of edition of his books because he died in 2001. So all of these books are old. You know, they're not new. So there's a couple, like I have my list. There's a couple that I had skipped over either because they were named differently on the list than what we can actually get because the list was made by somebody in the UK and some of the titles had changed. So there's some that I'd skipped because I didn't realize I could get them because they were in the wrong, or the UK name instead of the US name. And some that they weren't on Kindle, but I was able to find them physically. So I'm going to go back, like, in my list and read those ones that I have not read yet. I am going to read 2 Richard Lehman this month. I'm hoping, because both of these are very small, so and since they're backlisted and I'd already skipped over them, I kind of want to get them out of the way. And they're very small. So the first one is Night Show, which was released in 1984, the year I was born. So that's this one right here. So I'll be reading this one. I mean, this is what, not even 300 pages, 270 something. Yeah, it is, 279. And look at this text. It is so big. Like, I could probably read this easily in a sitting. So I'll read this one for sure. And then also All Hallows Eve, which this one came out in 1986. So this one is also very, very small. 246. Same kind of writing. I believe these covers are the UK edition covers. I believe so. Because, like, if you look at, let's see. Like, this is like what a US cover looks like for a Richard Lehman book. This is actually one of my favorite Richard Lehman books. But if you, like, look at the difference, like, this one is definitely style different. And you can find these sometimes, but I believe these are the UK. Yep. Because if you look on the back, I don't know, like, if that is going to be very visible. Where it says UK Australia price, like, there is no US price on these. Whereas this one is US Canada. So this is the UK style covers, American style covers. So I'll definitely get these 2 out of the way, nice and small. And actually, I don't think I've read either of these before. So, because they were harder to find before. So I'm kind of excited to get into these. Expecting the cheese, expecting the rape, expecting everything gratuitous in these. Other books that I am definitely going to read this month. I'm definitely going to be reading Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I'm buddy reading this with Vicky at chapter 32. We literally, since I started BookTube last August, we have literally done a buddy read every other month. And we're keep going. We already have what we're going to buddy read in August, and then we just have to figure out October. And it just seems so weird to, like, October will be fun. Ooh, because that'll be a horror month. Ooh, I'll have to talk to her about that. But it's fun. Like, her and I love buddy reading together. And when we buddy read stuff like this, where it's, like, really super thick, or it has, like, Heart's Invisible Furies, which was thick and had a lot of hard topics, it's really nice to talk to someone while you read it. So for this, we picked this one because she's read The Great Alone and The Nightingale. I've only read The Nightingale, and I've started Winter Garden, but I haven't finished it. And so this is one that we both wanted to read that we haven't read yet, so we figured we'd read a Kristen Hanna together. So we'll be reading Firefly Lane. And also, because I was a trash human being this month, and or in May, and I could not seem to finish any books on my TBR, you know, because that's the whole goal of doing the TBR jar, is to force myself to read things. So yeah, I did read things, they just weren't on my TBR, because, you know, that would make sense, because that's the whole point of doing this. But out of the things that were on my TBR picks, American Gods, I am still reading. I'm about 300 and something pages into it, like, so I'm about halfway through it, and I'm enjoying it. It's just, it's on my Kindle, so I read it when I can here and there. I'm still going to continue to read it. It's just, it's going to be carried on. Winter Garden is like right down here. It's actually helped propping my little tripod camera up, whatever. Winter Garden, I am about 100 and something pages in. I'm, I think, about 25% of the way through. I'm enjoying it. It's very Kristen Hanna. It's just I wasn't in the mood to read Kristen Hanna this month. Like, I wasn't really in the mood for anything but binge watching Mad Men, it seemed. So that I am still reading. I will finish it. I am enjoying it. That's just going to carry on until I fucking finish it. Kind of like The Prior of the Orange Tree. As for the other ones, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Yes, Tchaikovsky, I can't speak. This one I didn't even touch, but one of my subscribers, Cindy, had asked me if I wanted to do a buddy read with her, and I'm down for buddy reads because buddy reads are fun. And so I asked her, I was like, yeah, sure, just let me know when you want to do one and like what you'd like to read. She wants to do Children of Time because it's one she's interested in, and she's like, have you read it yet? I'm like, nope, on my TBR, haven't touched it, so that'll be great. Because then this one, with it being so chunky, I mean, this one is 600 pages, and with how big this is, it's high sci-fi, which I don't usually read, and it's got giant spiders in it. Also something I do not like. No, spiders, no. So we're going to buddy read this one. She contacted me on Instagram, so we're going to message there. We're going to start this in June, and like I broke it down to like 50 pages a day to make it easier on both of us, so we could get this easily read in about 2 weeks. So between this one and this one being buddy reads, they're both chunky bitches. But that's okay, because with buddy reads, these will actually get read and they will go fast, and it'll knock 2 books off my TBR that are big. So down for that. So that's 4 already. The Richard Lehman books I can read in one sit. I'm not worried about that. And then the other 2 are buddy reads. That'll be 50 pages a day for each of those. So as for the other 3 remaining, The White Queen by Philippa Gregory and Jane Unlimited by Kristen Kishore, I'm going to donate these. I do not think I will ever get to them. I used to love Philippa Gregory in my late teens, early 20s, but she has very, very, very dense writing style, and it's not going to happen. If I want to read her, I can always check her out from the library, so I'm going to donate this to my library. And as for Jane Unlimited, I've stopped and started and stopped this multiple times, and I just can't get into it. And I don't know if it's because it's broken up in the weird way towards like 4 or 5 different genres, or if it's just not my type of book. It's YA, and it's really reflective. So this one is getting donated as well. So since I donated 2 that I did not read or didn't touch, which is the whole point of doing the TBR jar, that leaves me 1 save, and my save is going to be The Great Alone, because it's Kristen Hanna. I know I'm going to love it. I just was not in the mood to read Kristen Hanna this month. I just wasn't. And I probably won't read this next month either, because I'm going to be reading a Kristen Hanna book. So this one I'm just going to put back in the jar, and it'll go back on my shelf, and I'll get to it eventually. Okay, now on to the actual TBR jar picks. So I've got 2 Richard Lehman, Children of Time, and Firefly Lane. So I think I'm going to pick 3 or 4, because I like having options, and I've always got the save and stuff too, I'm shaking this up and it's still shaking the camera. So yeah, I bought some books, so there are new ones in here, because, you know, self-control is not something I possess. So let's see, I'm going to pick, which one, this one, I guess. They were 2 stuck together. So I picked Never Let You Go, so let me grab that. So here it is, Never Let You Go by Chevy Stevens. This is a thriller. I've heard a lot of good things about Chevy Stevens. Blah, 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 blah. I can't talk today. I've heard a lot of good things about her. Apparently her thrillers are really, really good. I've just never read one. I picked this one up off a book. Did I get this at Book Outlet? I think I picked this up from Book Outlet and haven't tried it yet, so we'll give it a go. Let's see. What else? Kind of digging around. What are this? Okay. Yeah. This one. Oh, alright. Summer of Salt. Most people know this one. Let me grab it. Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. I know I do not read contemporary, because I don't. But I was talking to Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, and this was months ago. Like, in the fall. And on Instagram, and I just said something like, oh, you know, like, I can never find a contemporary that I like. Like, I like fantasy, horror, mystery, stuff like that. Like, all the contemporaries are just really boring and not appealing to me. And Katrina Leno is, like, one of her favorite authors, and she said, why don't you try Summer of Salt? It's got a little bit of magical realism in it. It's about two girls, like, in the summer. Somebody, family member dies or whatever. It's got a female-female relationship, but there's some kind of magical realism. It's not that big. It is a really small book. It's like barely 200 pages, so it should be really easy to read. So this one, give it a go. All right, I'll do 2 more, I think, because that's quite enough. And then I'll just mood read the rest. Oh my god, like this is just ridiculous. It's so big. All right, let's see what this one is. Probably something I'm not gonna like. Well, hopefully it is, because, you know, last couple months they've been kind of shitty to me. This is one of the newer ones that I picked, or that I bought, and I haven't even hauled yet. And I bet you Vicky's gonna make fun of me. Clockmaker's Daughter. Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton. This is quite a chunker, I believe. Hair tickling me. I believe this is a historical fiction. Yeah, 1862. I'll have to ask her what she thought of it. I know Vicky's read it, but I'm kind of nervous. I bought it on a whim, and it was because Vicky had read it, and if I remember right, she liked it, but I think she only gave it 3 stars. Maybe it was 4. I've never read Kate Morton before. I've heard, like, some people really love her, some people don't. We'll see. But, alright, we'll give it a shot, and then one more. Come on, be good. Like, maybe another thriller. Like, looking at my shelves. Maybe another thriller would be good, or a fantasy. I'm not picking that one. That one's just, like, open, and I don't like when they're open. Maybe I'll dig at the bottom. Alright, dug to the bottom. Another contemporary-ish. Myth of Perpetual Summer. This I can grab. It's right here. Right here. Myth of Perpetual Summer by Susan Crandall. This I had attempted to start to read, and then I just put it down. But it's not that I didn't like it. Just wasn't in the mood. This is like a Southern Gothic contemporary novel. It's about a family. The main character's name is Tallulah. And she had a volatile childhood with not so good parents and a not so good upbringing. And so she decides, she moves away, and then there's trouble at home, and it's like 20 years in the future, I think. Something like that. 20 or 15 years in the future, and something happens with her brother, and so she's got to go home to help, like, take care of it, fix it. Jenna Moresi, she read this last year, I think. She posted it on her Instagram stories, and I asked her, well, how is that? Because I had it, and she said it was good, not great, not terrible, but not something to write home about. So, I don't know. We'll see. How did I end up with... That's ridiculous. Like, and then adding that on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 8. That's 8 books. 4 will definitely get read, and that leaves me... I'm going to pick one more for shits and giggles, because I want to challenge myself, which is dumb, because every time I do that, I end up slumping, but whatever. I do what I want. Alright. We're going to take that one right there, and that one almost... Oh, I pulled The Killer Across the Table, which I'm literally currently reading, and it's right there. It's underneath my tripod, so that is Trash City, because I will be finishing that one. It's really good. It's a fast read. So that's gone. I finally came across one that I read on my own. Shock and awe, because that would have never happened before. Okay, what is this one? Queen of Hearts. That is a book that I have since donated, I think. Or is that the... I think I did. That was the sequel to Alice. I read it or I halfway read it, DNF'd it, and didn't like it because Alice was really good. That was the Christina Henry sequel, or Alice, sequel to Alice. Can't talk today. Okay, this is another one that I had hauled, or I have not hauled yet, but is new to my shelf, and that is Southern Discomfort. So let me grab that. I don't know how, with shaking up and moving my hand around and grabbing for the bottom, I ended up with 2 books that I haven't even hauled yet that were on the top. So this is Southern Discomfort by Tina Clarke. This one was on Book Outlet, and that's where I got it. It is an, pretty big font book. This is a memoir, I believe. And it's about, yeah, it is a memoir. It says right on the cover, dumbass. Shocker. But this is about Tina, and I don't remember what state she lives in the South. Mississippi. Okay. Childhood Mississippi in the 1960s. Apparently she has 2 parents that don't really pay attention to her. Yeah. Parents' marriage was a swamp of alcohol, rampant infidelity, and guns. Yeah, I'll read you the dust jacket because this is kind of what drew me in. On the outside, Tina Clarke's childhood in rural Mississippi in the 1960s looked like a fairy tale. Her father was one of the richest men in the state. Her mother was a regal beauty. The family lived on a sprawling farm that had the only swimming pool in town. Tina was given her first car, a navy blue Camaro, at 12. But behind closed doors, Tina's parents' marriage was a swamp of alcohol, rampant infidelity, and guns. Adding to the turmoil, she understood from a very young age that she was different from her 3 older sisters, all of whom had been beauty queens and majorettes. Tina knew she didn't want to be a majorette. She wanted to marry one. So she's gay. Tina was left in the care of her black nanny, Virgie, who becomes Tina's surrogate mother and confidant, even though she was raising 9 of her own children. It was Virgie's acceptance and unconditional love that gave Tina the courage to stand up to her domineering father, the faith to believe in her mother's love, and the strength to challenge the bigotry that defined her world and her true self. So the reason this appealed to me is, first of all, Tina's a lesbian, figuring that out as a child in the 1960s, with a toxic family relationship, being raised by a black nanny who was more of a mother to her than her own parents were, and, combating, especially being in the 60s South, the racism, the homophobia, all that stuff wrapped into one. It's a very small memoir, so I'm kind of curious to see how it goes. There's not much there, but it sounds intriguing, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, guys, that's it. That is my June TBR, my very ambitious June TBR. I'm kind of scared looking at it. I can't even hold this. Why? Why do I think I'm going to read all these? I haven't had a month where I've read this many books in a long time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I picked 5 from the TBR jar, and I've got my 2 Richard Layman to catch up, or try to help catch up, and then my 2 buddy reads, which are ginormous. Because that makes perfect sense to do that to myself. Granted, in June, softball should be slowing down, so I should have more time to read. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. July is usually one of my best reading months because I take a full week off for my birthday. So that usually helps because I have no kids in school, no sports, no nothing. My family's lame. We don't go anywhere or do anything. So I have plenty of time to lay around and read. So hopefully this will kickstart me into summer reading. Here's hoping. But yeah, that's it, guys. Please let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these, what you thought, what are you excited for me to read? Do you think I'm a complete moron for attempting to even put these on my TBR? Because we all know that's probably not going to work out well for me. But anyways, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.